Good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Once again, you get me solo. Let's talk a little bit. We got some topics to cover next. Hey there, everyone. It is your boy, the one and only Philio, a.k.a. Phil Credible, a.k.a. as we talked about last week, Trent Phoenix. Oh, man, I'm not going to live that one down. Anyway, welcome to another edition of Command This. This is Phil rolling solo. We couldn't get together tonight due to scheduling conflicts this week, but I didn't want to leave you without some content. And the big news going on right now is we are wining and dining Eric Bienemy to be our new offensive coordinator. And the first topic of conversation that seems to happen a lot is people ask the question, why? Why would Eric Bienemy want to come to Washington? You know, he's winning Super Bowls. In Kansas City, he can have any job he wants. Well, that's not necessarily accurate. One of the things you have to consider is that he's in a position where he's always going to be seen as benefiting from being attached to Andy Reid, because Andy Reid calls plays, Andy Reid's an offensive coach, and Eric Bienemy doesn't call plays, and he's not the head coach. He doesn't have the profile. At the same time, as much as some players love him, there are others that don't. So we have to keep in mind that a move to Washington actually helps him in the long run for his career, because of the fact that he will be given full run of the offense here, because we have a defensive-minded head coach, not an offensive one. And I think that one of the things we have to keep in mind is that he needs to raise that profile to show that, yes, he could do it on his own. He doesn't need someone like Andy Reid, an offensive genius, to have coattails for him to ride on. And look at it this way. If Ron does well next year as a head coach and the team performs well, that raises his profile to be a head coach elsewhere. If the offense does well, but we fail to make the playoffs, Ron's going to get fired. But Bienemy could very well be elevated to head coach. The reason why I say that is that he's still going to be seen as the hot coordinator prospect, next great head coach. And a new ownership team is going to want to take advantage of that. Keep fans coming to the stadium. Because a lot of fans would love to see him get that offensive or get that head coaching opportunity with this team. So I think that this comes out as a win-win and a very shrewd move for the team to try to take advantage of Bienemy's talents as an offensive coordinator, and also for Bienemy to further his career, whether it be furthering it here as a head coach down the road, or to raise his profile to the point that he cannot be denied that he is worth that opportunity to become a head coach elsewhere. So it's a shrewd move. It's one that could help Ron, retain his job. It could help this team make a run in the playoffs. It would definitely help the development of someone like Sam Howell, because for all intents and purposes, apparently Bienemy was very instrumental in helping develop Patrick Mahomes. Now, people will say, well, Mahomes was a first-round talent and a first-round pick, and Sam Howell isn't. Well, Howell was a projected first-rounder for a long time, and was even projected to be one of the first quarterbacks taken off the board, but because his senior year at UNC, where all of his weapons were gone, he slid in his production, and he went to the 5th round instead of being a low first, high second-round pick. I think that it's good. If he can help develop Mahomes, I think he can help Sam Howell. Sam Howell showed excellent patience, and when he was called upon, he played well. And I think that his mobility and his arm strength give him I'm not saying he is Patrick Mahomes, but he has some of the same skill set. And I think that that's something that Bienemy maybe feels he can work with as well. Bienemy also does like to run the ball. He's a former running back himself. I remember watching him with the Chargers for years. And I also know that despite the fact that Kansas City's running game wasn't so highly vaunted in recent years, you gotta remember, they ran the ball well with him coaching up that offense with Kareem Hunt. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has had inconsistent performance, but they've given him the opportunities. Isaiah Pacheco, they do run the ball, and they're pretty creative with it. And with Ron wanting to be a ball control offense primarily, I think Bienemy may be able to make that happen, not just with the run game, but the short pass game as well, which will only serve to help our offensive line not have to hold blocks for as long, and also help Sam Howell by getting them into more of a quick pass rhythm game, which is great for young quarterbacks. So I see a lot of positives here. I see a lot of positives for Bienemy's career. I see a lot of positives for the franchise. And I think that with the offense being the part of the team that was lagging this season, I think it's the move you got to make. My next question for you. So apparently last night, which is Wednesday night, as of when I'm recording this, Bienemy went out to dinner with team officials. Ron Rivera, I believe, was involved, so on and so forth. Out of curiosity, where do you think they took him to go eat dinner? Obviously, it was somewhere nice. This ain't no Applebee's trip. Where do you think they went? I personally, my money would be on DC Prime. DC Prime's near Ashburn. I'm sure he got, they want to keep him close to the facilities, keep him out in Northern Virginia. So I would say he probably went to DC. They probably took him to DC Prime. But then again, maybe they took him to Del Mar. Maybe they went to, I don't think they took him to the Chili Bowl to wine and dine him for the job. But then again, if it was good enough for Barack Obama, I'm sure it'd be good enough for Eric Bieniemy. But nonetheless, I just thought it was funny. I saw that he went out to dinner, and I was like, well, I wonder where they went. There's a lot of higher-end joints out that way, but for some reason, my money would be on DC Prime. Bienemy looks like somebody who definitely enjoys a good steak. Fat man thoughts right there. Oh, we're going to dinner? Where are we going? Huh? But hey, you know what? Wherever it is, it wasn't on his dime, and I'm sure he enjoyed it. Hopefully he has the opportunity to enjoy many more meals and dinners and lunches and breakfasts in D.C. as our offensive coordinator. And maybe our future head coach as well. Well, we shall see. Anyway, thoughts on the Super Bowl? So glad the Eagles lost. And with the fact that they tried to do the Los Angeles Rams route, they almost went to full F them picks mode and decided just to chase it. And they built a team that could have won. They fell just short. They blew a lead in the Super Bowl. I do think that the challenge for the Eagles is their cap situation. They got a lot of guys that are owed a lot of money, and they don't have the money to do it. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of this Eagles team actually returns next season and what key pieces they're going to have to let go. That's going to be very important because right now, if Washington gets Bienemy, they're a team on the rise. And that would become interesting with the Eagles, potentially a team falling back to earth a little bit. Dallas, I think Dallas kind of showed who they really are towards the end of the season. So the NFC East should be very interesting next season. I don't see any 14, 15 win teams out of there. I see a lot of 10 and 11 wins at the top. Whoever wins the division, I think it's going to be a 10 or 11 win team. Who knows? We might be in that race again. Now, I want to wrap this up on a different point. And this is going to be a random tangent, but you know what? We're getting into the off season, so let's talk about some off season stuff for a second. Let's talk about some non-football stuff for a second. The Flash trailer got everybody hyped because Michael Keaton was in the Batman cowl. Now, many people will argue that the 1989 Batman is the best Batman movie. The only other argument you'll hear is for The Dark Knight, both of which had legendary Jokers. For me, it's a tough call. It's a toss-up. I love both movies. I think both of them are great, all for different reasons. But, first of all, if it weren't for Batman 89, you don't have any of these superhero movies now. So respect the OG. And at the same time, one of the unique things about that Batman movie is that it had a soundtrack and a score. Both legendary stuff. The score was by Danny Elfman, who has done so many movie soundtracks and has done such good work with it. The soundtrack was by Prince. Now, those of you who know me know, Prince may be my favorite musician of all time. And I was taking a trip down memory lane. I was watching some music videos on YouTube. I watched the Bat Dance video. I watched the video for Party Man. These are both Prince songs that were on the Batman soundtrack that got music videos. And it struck me. Tim Burton missed an opportunity. If Tim Burton had come back to direct a third Batman movie, or maybe even done this with the second one instead of Batman Returns, Prince would have made an excellent Riddler. He would have. Watch him in those music videos. First of all, he's enjoying the living shit out of himself. He did not take himself so seriously. He was enjoying himself. In the way that, you can always tell when Prince really is really loving what he's doing. And because he's kind of got that low-key demeanor and he's a short guy, slight build, that would be perfect for the Riddler. The Riddler was supposed to be cerebral. So I don't know. It was just a random thought that came to my mind. I'm like, damn, this would have worked nicely. Like, Prince as the Riddler. Think about that. That would have been interesting. Early 90s? Come on now. Come on. We missed out on it. And don't get me wrong. Jim Carrey as the Riddler in Batman Forever, he did a great job. I think he was a little too over the top, almost Jokerish. I think a little more low key, a little more, what made it a little more believable, would have been a little more interesting. So that was just my random thought that came to me about something other than football this whole week. So that's all I've got for you this evening. Gonna keep it short, keep it sweet. I wanted to touch on the Bienemy thing because that's a hot topic right now. And I just wanted to BS about superhero movies and my favorite musician of all time. So, if you have any thoughts, comment down below. If you don't like what I have to say, comment down below. All right? I don't want just the good stuff. I want the bad stuff. Now, of course, if you disagree with me, you're probably wrong. You knew I was going to say it. But no matter what, you agree with me, you disagree with me, you think I'm an idiot, you don't like this camera angle, I don't care. Comment down below. Smash the like and subscribe button. Because you want to subscribe. Because you want to come on here and tell me how right I am. You want to come on here and tell me how wrong I am. You want to come in here and listen to Steve be the nicest human being in all of planet Earth. You want to come in here and you want to hear Dev crack jokes about black dookies and cockroach milk and all the other things that he brings up, you want to do that. So guess what? The only way to make sure you get that, like, subscribe, smash that bell so you get notifications every time we post some content for that ass. Till next time, it's your boy Phil. Peace and hail.